Welcome everyone to the first community talk, where Joshua will present LLMs. Take it away.
Good morning. Okay, so we'll be talking about evaluating LLM performance with FHIR tasks. Obviously, LLMs are a big deal. I don't think I need to convince anyone of that. I'm Josh. I'm the CTO at a company called FLEXPA. Happy to talk to you about what we do later on. Come and see my other talk, though, on Thursday about consent and patient access. Let's get into it. So what is an LLM eval? What are we even talking about? Well, an LLM eval is a way of creating a repeatable, automatable evidence or proof that an LLM behaves in a particular way for a given set of inputs and a given set of expected signals or outputs. So we can measure different things like accuracy. We can do an exact equals match. In some evaluations, we actually use LLMs to evaluate the outputs themselves. So we have some kind of scoring that we apply, and ultimately then we run the evaluation. So that's what it is. Why make one for FHIR? Well, if you've experimented with them, I'm sure you've had some experience of, on some gradient of, well, they seem to work really well, or don't seem to work well at all, or somewhere in the middle. But particularly when they seem to be working well at a given task, turning that qualitative assessment into a quantitative assessment is the purpose of an LLM eval. So taking this seems to work to a quantified assessment is the goal. And there are lots of evals out there for LLMs, but domain context really matters. We care about different things in FHIR than we might in other evals. Obviously, there's regulatory and safety pressures, which I shouldn't have to go into. And I think ultimately there's a sense of interoperability economics. Can we push down the cost of interoperability by leveraging models? That would be really nice. Of course, there's community bar setting as well. So I'm happy to announce that we've created an LLM FHIR eval. So you can find out more about what I'm going to discuss and the results that I'm going to reveal in a moment at flexpa.com/eval. It's open source. Everything I'm talking about is published on GitHub, including the results. There's some prior art here. About a year ago, in the New England Journal of Medicine, a paper by the name of FHIR-GPT was published. And this was, to my knowledge, the first sort of structured evaluation of LLMs on FHIR-specific tasks. There's also Med Agent Bench, which I would encourage everyone to check out if you're interested in this space. So we've created an eval with two primary task benchmarks. The first is an extraction benchmark. And this is not new. This is a very common task. It's a Q&A type task. It's an information retrieval type task. Given a FHIR resource, or a bundle even, can we answer some questions about it? So the eval takes 72 pairs of FHIR resources and questions, and we evaluate the performance of 14 different models on those inputs. And we're looking at pass at one accuracy, which just means sampling the model once. If that's a pass at 5, it would mean try 5 times, take the best one. We only take one attempt here. And we compare 2 prompts, basically to demonstrate that for this information retrieval task, there's a lot of sensitivity to the descriptions that you provide in the prompt. The models are really responsive to prompt quality. That's nothing new. I think anyone who's played with LLMs has figured that one out. So this is the minimalist prompt. It basically says nothing. And then we have a specialist prompt. Both are 0 shot, so there's no example provided. There's just instructions. There's no hinting about the FHIR schema. There's very little, really. These are some examples. What is the patient's nickname? You might not be able to quite read it out, but very simple. What is the SNOMED code for this condition? But that's where we start, but that's not where we end with this eval. We actually get like pretty sophisticated. I'm not going to read these all out, but we go from very simple, maybe 10-line resources to bundles with dozens and dozens and dozens of resources that we've synthetically created using Cynthia. So here are some results of this. On the left, we have that minimalist prompt. On the right, we have the specialist prompt. And you can see across the board that the models respond to the prompt pretty effectively. And unfortunately, we actually have saturation here. So I say unfortunately because it's actually not a great thing to see 100%. That is sort of a failure of the eval in the sense that we're probably not capturing we're not capturing all the possible model behavior here. So generally speaking, this is actually a failure. We would like to see an unsaturated benchmark so that the models can actually improve, but that appears to be getting more difficult with more recent models. O3 is OpenAI's latest reasoning model. You can see cost here as well. For this eval, we've also benchmarked 2 open source or open weight local models, the top 2 there that are represented at $0. Okay, second task, generation. This is much more difficult. So given a plain natural language description, can we generate a complete FHIR bundle? Let's score this on, is it actually JSON? Does the model actually give us JSON back? Is it actually a bundle? Does it include a meta element with a bunch of hallucinated stuff? I'm gonna dock points for that. And then finally, does the generated bundle actually pass a validate operation? We compare 2 approaches in this benchmark. The first is a zero-shot generation. It's a terse statement with the instructions, basically saying, generate a FHIR bundle for this text, please. The second approach is a tool use approach. So in this approach, rather than just prompt the model to give us a bundle back, we provided a tool, which is the FHIR validate operation, which is an excellent tool for validating FHIR. And we feed the response back to the LLM, so errors, warnings, we feed it right back and allow it up to 10 times in this kind of agentic loop to correct itself. So an example here, patient Marie Curie. As an input, we're aiming for this kind of output. And this is a real output from the benchmark. A more complicated example, perhaps, cardiologist with an NPI, which is an identifier in the United States for practitioners. An even more complicated example, I can't fit this on the screen, as I'm sure you can see, but a complicated description of a patient with observations, conditions, et cetera. We've successfully been able to generate this bundle. So this came from O3. And this is like to me, pretty impressive at this point. So we've got the patient resource, we've got a condition resource, multiple condition resources, an observation, another observation. And to me, just given this input, being able to actually create valid FHIR at the end of that is an impressive thing to be able to do. So how good are models at this? Again, sort of mixed news. The good news is that with multiple turns and tool use, we can get very, very, very high performance out of the latest generation of models. So on the top here, we have Claude Sonnet 4. That's Anthropic's latest model, released just last week, I believe. So for the 12 inputs and those 5 scoring measurements, Claude Sonnet 4 saturates the evaluation. Of course, that comes at a cost. So every turn incurs more cost against the API. I think there are some conclusions that I want to share here that are worth thinking about. So one is that you can and should build custom evals for FHIR tasks. So if you're starting to incorporate models into a workflow, you don't need to leave it to a qualitative assessment of the performance of the model. You can build evals. It's not that hard. Number two is that it's surprisingly difficult to build an unsaturated eval. So even when we throw pretty complex natural language and this task of generating FHIR resources, valid FHIR resources, it's actually more difficult than you think. And so the kind of inverse conclusion of that is that we're probably closer to it really does just work than we might think. So those are the sort of core conclusions I've made here. There are some opportunities to improve this. So if you're interested in helping, number one, I'd really love to desaturate this benchmark. So I'd love to be able to get this to a place where the models are not actually maxing it out. I'd love to be able to try to reproduce the FHIR GPT paper as well, and I think we can improve on its performance by introducing tool use. Another idea is to provide models with terminology server operations to be able to do code system lookups, for example. So if you want to collaborate on that research, talk to me. If you can endorse me on some of the paper submission platforms, I'd love that, really appreciate that. And then finally, I think as a conclusion of this research, it is possible to train a small parameter open weights model with reinforcement learning to beat that state-of-the-art performance at the FHIR generation task. So that's something I'm interested in proving out. So if you want to check out the source code for this material, find it on GitHub. If you'd like to just see the summary and the full report, you can find that at flexer.com/evals. That's my email. I'd love some feedback, and I'd also love to answer any questions you have.
Hey Josh, cool stuff as always. I have a few questions. First one is, can this eval benchmark be run with local models?
Yes.
Cool. Generating the FHIR resources with taking multiple turns and going through the validator loop, how much time does that take? Do you find it fitting for production use versus traditional programming?
So to get to the saturated performance level with Claude Sonnet, we published the speed as well, but the saturated performance is both expensive and in terms of money and time. So anywhere between 10 and 30 seconds of latency with Claude Sonnet on these larger payloads can be expected. So I think the average number of turns was 3 or 4. And so if you just do the math there, and you're up to a couple of minutes. I think the goal of establishing an open weights model to do this one narrow domain task, one of the side goals of that is not just to lower the cost, but also to lower the latency. So I think there's an opportunity to do that. So probably not the most economical approach today, but I think tomorrow it could very well be.
Yeah, there's definitely an area to investigate, right? And also, I guess it's a pretty straightforward question, but a question that needs to be asked. Even though it's a valid FHIR data structure, are the semantics within it correct? And
yeah, absolutely. So, and this gets into a tricky separation between evaluating or what we're evaluating. So are we evaluating FHIR structure, or are we evaluating the capability of a model to code medical data? And those are distinctly separate evaluations. OpenAI themselves released a great benchmark maybe a month ago called Health Bench that is targeted at that specific task. We're trying to narrow in on on structure here. So we're not, even though in these tests, in this particular benchmark, we're making sure that the output happens to be correctly coded. That's not the primary objective, and I think it's important to say it's a distinct one.
Yeah. Cool, thanks a lot.
Hey, I was just going to ask a quick question about profiles and whether you when you're generating it, I'm not sure, this is my first time seeing your work, but are you using US Core or anything like that, or are you looking at just vanilla FHIR? So I'm just thinking, that is that a thought process in there to say, right, well, I need to generate that data for a specific market or look at it in that context?
Yeah, so we're targeting in the multi-turn generation example, we're targeting the base spec. But the loop is very simple. We're just using the public HL7 validator. So that can be configured to use a profile. We haven't published anything about this, but anecdotally, I can say that you can observe the same sort of guidance happening. So the validator will return information specific to the profile that you're trying to validate against, and the model will sort of follow that path. But we haven't published anything in a benchmark yet.
Hi, did you find any explanation why some models degraded on the export prompt?
That's a very good question. We don't have an explanation that's specific to this task. And I think interpretability of models is an open question. There's an area of research called mechanistic interpretability that may assist with that. Anthropic published a paper on this called On the Biology of Large Language Models that has a section on it actually about the interpretability of LLMs in the medical domain that I would encourage everyone to check out. We don't really have a good answer, though, for our narrow task.
Thanks, Josh. 2 questions for you. One, what plans do you have to desaturate the current test data? And 2, what recommendations do you have if we want to expand your test data for our own contextual use case?
So for desaturation, I think it comes down to increasingly complex examples. So we haven't tested the full scope of FHIR resources, for example. We've tested the resources that are most common, the condition, observation, patient. There's a long tail of FHIR resources that I would expect less performance on. So that's one way that we could desaturate. Ultimately, if we find out that we cannot, that means that we should be targeting model performance on embedded, smaller parameter size, locally running models. These are the things that ultimately are also going to be really sensitive for healthcare context. So instead of worrying that, okay, O3 is saturating this benchmark, are the locally hosted, privacy-sensitive models saturating it? No? Okay, great. That's actually still a good thing in the sense that we can improve them. And then as far as your own context, I think, for example, fish generation, as I know that you're going to be speaking about, everyone should go see Alex's talk on LLMs and implementation guides. I think totally that just figure out a loop of evaluation. Can you compile, can you produce a verified output? So in the case of fish, for example, being able to compile the result, super helpful in making an eval, rather than needing to go and mark succeed or failed from a human interpreter. So is there a verified output?
Okay, thank you everyone. Unfortunately, this concludes our talk, but if you have any more questions, I see some in the back, just reach out to Josh. Thank you.
Thanks so much.